we were discussing about these properties of these fibers for say कि the wool fibers have highest moisture regain properties. So in case of moisture regain properties, it has highest moisture regain for say 14%, means it absorbs highest moisture, and it is amorphous in nature. Amorphous in nature, this is essential for you to understand. So this these all things you can read. And if I talk about in tenacity in wet state, so it loses its tenacity in case of wet state. So the properties of the wool fibers are lost in case of when it is weak. तो wool is a comparatively weak fiber for say अगर as we were discussing here, अगर if there is van der Waals forces and hydrogen bonding is also there, तो hydrogen bond is also a comparatively weak kind of forces due to the polycondensation in which different amino acids are linked together to form these. So it is a weaker five forces. And the next thing that is important in case of wool is crimped configuration of the wool fiber and alpha keratin configuration of the wool polymer. So this is very important for say, or it has very good elastic recovery. What is elastic recovery? We have discussed yesterday if suppose 100 centimeter it is there, and upon extension it reaches up to 120 centimeter. So when you release these the extension, it reaches again back to 100 centimeter. So if it reaches 100%, then it has very excellent elastic recovery properties, and the elastic recovery percentage is 100%. So for in this case, so wool have very excellent elastic recovery, and these are uh, two reasons why the elasticity of the wool is considered to be high. And in case of hygroscopic means they absorb the water in these things, and also it has low conductivity of heat. Low conductivity of heat, therefore it is ideal for cold weather. Matlab means it has warmth properties. So wool fibers do not pack well in yarns, as we discussed, because wool is a amorphous polymer. So they do not pack well means the it these are not fully packed are crystalline polymers. Crystalline means they are fully packed, they do not have air spaces in between them. So so these are these kinds of things, and also they have scales in their polymer, so they cannot pack very well. So they have much spaces in between them. Due to these things, they it makes wool fabric process, and they are capable of inserting air. So air is inserted between them. So all these things, air is one of the best insulators, since it keeps the body heat close to the body. Since it keeps body heat close to the body, and the heat is not released outside. So due to the configuration of the wool polymer, configuration in the sense scaly polymer structure, so scaly polymer structure, so it can absorb the heat. So for this reason it can be used for cold weather for say. So these things are also essential. And talking about other things, what is the effect of acids?
Like sir,
For,
in amorphous reason, there is air trapped in that,
hmm.
so it become insulator for.
It becomes insulator for this, and it do not allow the heat to to go outside, and it absorbs the heat. So we feel warm. So for talking about the chemical structures effect of acids, so these are resistant to acids. Wool, so wool hydrolyze themselves in the peptide bonds, and but leaves the disulfide bonds. they do not dissolve, but they becomes weak, so these are resistant to acids. You should remember the chemical properties, what is the effect on the acids and alkali. So bleaching of wool is not a permanent method. We do not bleach it, whereas we do dry cleaning of this, dry cleaning in case of woolen structures. Because in case if we do the effective method of bleaching wool is to reduce the bleach followed by oxidizing bleach. Reducing bleach is, it is done by sodium disulfide, sodium sulfide. It converts a discoloration on the fiber surface to a colorless compound. Due to the application of the oxidizing bleach, the colorless compounds are converted into water soluble compounds, and then it can be rinsed off. It is somewhat similar, so that it should retain the properties, and it should not become colorless. So we do in this method the effect of bleaching. For you to remember, you should remember how these are affected in case of different alkalis and alkaline metals. Effect of sunlight, in case of sunlight, it causes yellowing means the dullness of wool. Because due to the presence of uv rays degrade the peptide and disulfide bonds. So disulfide bonds get broken, and due to the presence of uv light, so yellowing, or the wool brightness, the color of the wool gets degraded, and causes the wool fiber to absorb more light and to scatter the incident light even more, to give yellowing or dulling effect on the fabric. So it gives the dulling effect. Or wool ko how we can dye these wool. So in case of dyeing of wool, we can say that how we will dye these wool by acid dyes. We dye the
Metal
wool
complex that.
structures, metal complex dyes. We do the dyeing fiber. We will see the exact in-depth dyeing process in the dyeing segment, but it has good dye ability. Now coming to the next fiber, this is silk fiber.